24th of February, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
On that, the Gemora asked, what's the, why not? Why can't you judge the case on the Dini Mamonos afterwards? So the Gemara said, because it seems like the Brisa goes according to the view of Shimon HaTimni, Rebbe Shimon HaTimni, because he says, Ma egrof biyuchad shemasa la'edu v'la'edim, that the Bezdin needs to make a shuma, an evaluation on the weapon that was used to cause the damage. And if that weapon is not available to the Bezdin to analyze and evaluate, it's not in the Bezdin. So it's not. So then that means that the Bezdin cannot make the evaluation. If they can't make the evaluation, they can't judge the case. And so we say that's why the Bezdin over here cannot judge the case of the Dini Mamonos, because the animal is not going to be available for them to see and evaluate whether he could have done that amount of damage. Why? Because we first judged the Dini Nefashos case, and the animal is already a Shor Nisko. Oh, so why don't you delay the execution of the Shor Nisko and allow the Bezdin to see the animal and evaluate whether it could have done that amount of damage. So on that, we say no. There's a din of even applies to an animal of inui hadin. You're not allowed to delay the execution in a capital case, even though that primarily it would seem to be that it's primarily talking about a person, that if the Bezdin judges him to be Chayiv Misa, so Rashi says in Moed Katan that we don't delay that, but the Gemara is very matter of factly assuming that we do exactly the same thing in regard to a Shor Niskal as well, that we would have to do the Mises Bezdin right away. We would not be able to delay it, and therefore that shore is not going to be available for the Bezdin to make their evaluation, make their shuma in the Dini Mamonos case, and so therefore we can't do that case. So therefore, that's why the Brisa says don't judge the Dini Mamonos case afterwards.
In any event, the animal would be worthless. You couldn't pay from it. This is a tum, I think, isn't it? What we're talking about.
Well, see here we're talking not about a tam now. We're talking about a muad.
No, what I said, I think refers to a tum. Doesn't refer to a muad. Is that right?
So here the Gemara says we're talking in the case of the muad. So it's not because of the fact that he's that he doesn't have any value because he's a Shor Niskal.
Yeah.
We're saying that since we can't delay the din, so that's why we can't judge the case.
Right.
Like Shimon HaTimni, he requires the Bezdin to see the weapon that caused the damage, and in this case, the weapon is the shore. He's the one that caused the damage. They would have to see this shore and evaluate to see if this shore was capable of doing that amount of damage that we saw in the other animal that was that sustained the damage. Okay, so on this, we also read yesterday that The Gemora said, "V'aminu lehu ana," that Rava, who was taking a little tiul, little spachir in the yeshiva, and he was listening to the Talmidei Chachamim there discuss this Gemora, and they were saying that, oh, this brisa goes like Rabbi Shimon HaTimni, and Rava piped up, and he said, oh, why you have to say like that? Afilu tema Rabbi Akiva. I'll tell you that brisa Rabbi Akiva. Oh, how could it go according to Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Shimon HaTimni. He argued with him on this point. Bezdin doesn't have to make any evaluation of the weapon that caused the damage. So the Rava says, "Hakamayaskinan." What's the case that the Bryce is talking about? Kigon Shaborach. He ran away. Who ran away? Who was the one that ran away? So over here, there's a Rashi over here. And Rashi, this is the third line from the top of the Rashis. Third wide line. Higon Shaborach, says Rashi very clearly, Ba'alov, its owner. The owner of this shore, Nisko, ran away. He fled. And therefore, says Rashi, ve'ein chabin lo la'odem shelo b'fanav. So therefore, we cannot impose a chov, a liability on this owner of the animal that gored shelo b'fanav, if he's not here in front of the Bezdin. And so that's why we can't judge the case. That's why we cannot judge the Dini Mamona's case, says the Gemora. The Brisa says we did judge the Dini Nefash's case, but the Dini Mamona's case, we didn't judge. Why did we not judge it? Because the owner of the animal ran away. Okay, so that's where we're holding up to this point today. So now we're gonna go from there. So we're up to Iborach. See where that is in the Gemora? It's one. Yeah, you got it?
Yep. It's on the 91A1. So those who've got it, the art scroll. Left hand, 1, 2, 3 up, or 3 down. The Gemara objects.
The Gemora objects.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. What's the basis of objection? So you want to read for us, Roy?
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask a question.
Yeah?
Something I
You
forgot.
may.
I think something to do with witnesses. Where the witnesses come in?
Where do the witnesses come in?
Where, because
What's the problem?
the what do you call it? The Sanhedrin
Yeah.
has to see the evidence, but so what about the witnesses? What's their role?
In the case in the case of
Any of the cases, but if the evidence isn't there, if the shore isn't there, or they can't get the shore, or they can't get the rock or whatever, So what worth is the witnesses?
Right? There's no case. There's no case.
Yeah, there's no case, and even the witnesses can't be used.
No,
Yeah.
according to Shimon HaTimni, Rebbe Shimon HaTimni, according to him, the Bezdin has to make the shuma on the weapon.
Hmm.
And so since the weapon is the animal, and the animal is going to be executed, and we're not going to delay the execution in order to allow the Bezdin to judge the Dini Mamonas case, because that would be asur. So therefore, we got no animal. We have no animal around because they're going to execute him, and therefore we have no animal around for the Bezdin to analyze and evaluate, make an evaluation, and therefore we can't judge the whole case. So that's it. Everybody goes home.
And if the animal was there, the witnesses wouldn't be needed?
Oh, you want to know how it works together with the witnesses and the Bezdin? That's what you want to know.
I
Good
think
question.
so. I think
Okay.
so.
So that's a good question. How do they work together? So we didn't really see anything in the Gemora about this per se,
Yes.
but I would assume that how it works is that the witnesses do like every other witnesses do. What do the witnesses do? They come in and they say, yeah, we saw this animal, and he stampeded, and he ran, and he gored this person, and he fell to the ground, and that was it.
Mhm.
So that's what their testimony is. We don't ask them, well, could you please make an evaluation and determine if it was evaluation made over there. Well, now I'm getting into another problem. The case of evaluation was a case of a monetary case where there was no death.
Yeah.
Whether what the din is by a death case, I don't know. I would assume it'd be the same. But here we're talking about the Dini Mamonas case. The Dini Mamonas case, we're going to come in and say they saw this shore gore that shore, and then the shore fell down, and that was the end of that shore. And we're not going to ask those witnesses, oh, do you think? I mean, obviously that they're saying that it was this shore that did it. So but the Bezdin would be making an evaluation, saying that's the shore. You say that's the shore that did it. So they would have to make an evaluation and say, does that shore look like a shore that will be able to do that amount of damage? If so, then they'll say, yeah, we agree that the story makes sense. As you have testified, it was this shore was capable of doing that amount of damage.
So the job of the witnesses is to establish guilt, and the job of the Sanhedrin is to establish value.
Well, okay, yeah. In other words, when the Bezdin says we're not disagreeing with you that it was this animal, but we're saying that this animal could not have done that amount of damage. It must be that the other animal is weak or infirm, and therefore it sustained the damage that it did. But you can't put the total blame on the owner of the goring animal.
Okay.
So you're right. It would depend on the amount of money.
All right. So what am I saying? Barach.
Yeah.
Barach. But if he fled, Kila denucho denai nefashos then even if they did not try the ox for a capital case, Kay Dinina lay Dine Mamonos below Berlin. So what was that again then? But if he fled, then even if they did not try the ox for the capital case, how can they try it for the monetary case without the owner present? And the Gemora answers, the Kabel, I better use this. Kabel, so refers to where the court accepted testimony while the owner was present and then he fled. But the Gemara persists. Sof mishtalem. But in the final analysis, even if the ox is not tried first for the capital case, from where will the damaged party be paid? And the Gemara concludes, Maridia is compensated through the renting the ox out for ploughing. And the Gemara questions that conclusion. I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's a good place to stop. Okay, what exactly was the Gemora's question over here? Yiborach, Iloi danuhu dine nefoshos, hechi daninen lei, ne mominus below bailing. There's no Rashi over here.
There is one Rashi I see so far.
That's
The something about Makabel.
That's on the answer, but
The Kabel Sahabi, that they accepted his testimony.
where's that?
yeah, that's the Gemora's. Rashi's explaining the Gemora's answer, but there's no explanation of the Gemora's question.
Correct.
What's the my problem is that the Gemora just got through saying that the reason that we couldn't judge the Dine Mamonas case after the Dine Nefashos case is because the owner was Borach. It has nothing to do with our inability to of the Bezdin to evaluate the animal to see whether it was capable of doing that amount of damage. It's a very practical reason, because the owner of the goring animal ran away. So what now is the Gemora? What is now the Gemora questioning over here? Baruch, if it in fact it is the case that the owner of the goring animal ran away, Kilo danuhu dini nefashos.
They need the owner present.
Well, what I thought okay. When did he run away exactly?
Well, that's the question. If he ran away right away, then you definitely couldn't judge the case. So that's why it has to be an answer to that question. The question is, well, he ran away, you can't judge it. So now it has to have an answer to
Iborah kilo danuhu dini nefashos.
But then the following Bryce, then it says the Brisa says that
below bailing.
then the Brisa says that he fled after the court accepted the testimony.
Yeah, that's explaining the Ibarach part. How it explains how he can run away. That why they could be. How could he be charged? He could be charged because it was charged, and then he ran away.
It seems to me that when the Gemora originally gave the answer, we meant that the owner of the goring animal, he ran away after they did the din of din in nefashos. But they were able to do the din of din in nefashos because the owner of the animal was there throughout that case, and therefore they judged the din of din in nefashos. And then he ran away after that, and that's why they can't do the dinei mamonos case. So if that's how we're understanding the Gemora's answer over there, and therefore we could go like Rabbi Kiva, what's the Gemora's question over here? Iborach kiloi danu dini nefashos, heki daninen le dini mamonos below bailim. It seems as though the Gemora didn't think like that. It seems like the Gemora thought that he ran away even in the dinei nefashos case. Iborach, if he ran away, kilo danuhu dinei nefashos. Okay, in any case, maybe we'll go to the Gemora's answer. Maybe if we see what the Gemora's answer is, we'll be able to figure out what the Gemora's question was. To me, it's very, very unclear what the Gemora is asking. So the Gemora answered Dekabel Sahade, that they did hear the testimony of the witnesses. The Beis Din heard the testimony of the witnesses, and the owner of the shore presumably was there at that time.
It doesn't mean that they made a decision. It doesn't mean that the court sort of declared a penalty or anything. They just simply accepted the testimony, and that must have frightened the owner. He knew he was on shaky ground, so off he went. But no. What do you call it? No decision was made based on the testimony.
Well, let's see if that holds out in the Rashi. Let's see see the Rashi's answer over here. The Kabul Sahade.
And the Kabul Sahade, that they accepted the testimony al nadicho on the goring, and then Borach, and then so they accepted the testimony on his goring, Borach, and then he fled. Therefore, now there's nothing to pay from. You could go and delay slay nechased, and this is like he doesn't have any properties. He doesn't have any properties. There's no way to make him pay. He ran away.
If he doesn't have any property, even if he's there, we're not going to be able to get anything out of him. What's the I don't understand this.
He must have some property. Let's say he's got a house. Can the court, what do you call it, sequester or take over the house forcibly?
Yeah, but then so the question comes, and this is the note in the article. Yes, it talks about he doesn't have any property. All he has is the ox. Now, since the ox is already taken care of, now he's in trouble. Now he has nothing to pay.
What, you mean the ox was executed already?
It says at the end of this article note is the Ashi says he doesn't have anything to collect except for the ox. Thus, only if the ox was not yet sentenced to death can you do the monetary trial. You can only do it if there's an ox around. Once there's no ox around, you can't do the monetary. You can't do the momon. You can only do the momon if the ox is not killed.
So what? So when we'll come back then to where we say where the court accepts the testimony, what testimony was the court after? For the mammon or for the capital case?
The negichot is the mama. It's not the
Okay.
capital. That's what the negichot is.
Yeah, so, all right. So it's the kabal, Sacharei, Uvarech. What,
קיבלו בסדין, אס עדס העדים בפני בעל השור, על נגיחוס שורו, שהמיס והזיק. And after that, Borach.
I understand. Where did you get that? With I'll ask again what I asked before, because I didn't know what
Yeah.
I heard. So when it said here, to Kabel, Sardeh,
Yeah.
where the court accepted testimony while the
Right.
owner was present, what was the testimony to do with was it to do with the case of a capital case, or was it to do with the case of a monetary case, or both?
Well, Rashi tells us they accepted the testimony on the Gorings.
Mm-hmm.
So,
On the goring of the capital case.
I mean, he also gored in the monetary case. If Rashi, I mean, I could make an argument as follows. If Rashi is not telling us which case it's referring to, then it would seem to me that we have no alternative but to say that the negichos means on the gorings, all the gorings that he did, meaning including not only the gorings of the man, but also the gorings of the animal. Rashi doesn't make any distinction. He just says we accepted all the Bezdin accepted all the testimony in regard to the gorings. Which gorings? The gorings, meaning
Okay.
all the gorings. If you're not going to tell me which gorings, then and you're just going to tell me the gorings, so it must be that Rashi is referring to all of them, all the gorings that the animal did.
So the Beth Din then will give a decision on what the worst one, the case of the principle that you do the worst. What do you call it? The worst case rather than the softer case, which
Well,
would be the goring of the animal. So they make a judgment on the capital case first.
well, I mean, we're talking about a case. We're talking about a case of a shor muad.
Mhm.
And a shor muad, the Brisa told us that that really the Gemora, the Brisa said muad shehemis of a hazik, if he did both gorings of killing a person and also of killing a daninoso dine mamonos. We first judge the case of dine mamonos, and then afterwards we judge the case of dine nefashos.
Okay. So
That's what the Brisa said, but actually the Gemora is talking about a case where they switched around the order, and
for whatever reason.
do like that. They judged they did a nefashos case before they judged the dine mamonos case, and in event, the Gemora says, once you judge the Dinei Nefashis case, you do not judge the Dinei Mamonas case.
Right.
That's what we're trying to figure out. Why not?
We've got a few answers there, haven't we? That the ox is as good as dead. Is as good as not existing anymore.
Well, the answer that we have right now is that the reason that we're not going to judge the Dinei Mamonas case is because the owner of the goring animal was Borach. He ran away.
So he can't carry out his obligations to the court. He can't carry out the sentence imposed on him that would be imposed on him as the owner.
Well, the Gemorah's right now saying that the Beis Din has accepted all the testimony on all the gorings,
Mm-hmm.
and after having accepted all of the testimony, he was Borach. And Rashi says that Hilkach ein lanu mima l'shalem. There's nothing ein lanu mima l'shalem. We don't have any place from where to pay. Kagon deles le nixe. He has no property. What about the shore itself? Beis Din, Yecholin Beis Din lifsok es dino u'lechayv moment haven shekiblu as a edus al kach. Now, I have a note over here that even though he ran away at this point, the owner of the animal, but since the Beis Din has already received all the testimony about the gorings, then the Beis Din would be able to proceed and now render a judgment and be machayev mammon. They would be able to be machayev this owner for the gorings that his animal did, even though he ran away now and he's no longer in front of them.
Mm-hmm. He'd be tried in absentia.
What?
Be tried in absentia. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
In other words, like this, where is the real trial of the case that he's got to be there when the evidence is being accepted? When the evidence is being received by the Beis Din, then he's required to be there. That's the trial.
Uh-huh.
Now, when now everything is already been, the evidence has already been presented. The Eidim have already given all of their edus about what happened, all the negichos, all the gorings. So now, when he runs away, that doesn't prevent the Beis Din from paskening now.
Right.
In regard to the case of the Mamonas, but we're going to say like this: Ach im kvar danuhu dinei nefashos kodem. But if the Beis Din has already issued a psak din on the dinei nefashos aspect of the case, ein lanu laduno ala mamonus. Now we can't judge him any longer on the mamonus. Shekevin shabarach ein mehechan l'shalem. He has from nowhere to pay. So it seems like the Gemora is understanding that's right. That's what the case was. The case was that the Beis Din already issued their psak in the Dinah Fash's case that the animal was judged to be a chayiv. So now he's liable for execution. The animal, sure, he's a shor niska, and now there's nowhere for the Dinah Mominus. There's no. He has nothing to pay. In the case of he has nothing to pay. Because Rashi says we're talking Kagon, says Rashi, we have to add another ukimta into the case, limiting the case is talking only in the case where he doesn't have any nechasim. All he had was this shore, and now the shore gored, and now the shores can't use that shore to pay for any damages now, and so now he has we have nowhere to collect from him. Okay, so now what does the Gemora answer? The Gemora answered, sof mehecha mishtalem. Where's he going to pay for the nezik of the animal? Miridia. From the plowing of the shore. Let's see. We're going to read these two Rashis over here. We have any time left? Not really. Oh, who called me? Was that Lou? No. Okay. Okay, so it's 12:30. So I guess we'll have to get to these Rashis next week. Okay.
Okay. Shabbat shalom. Take care. Be well.
All right, thank
All the
you.
best.
See you, Phil.
Shabbat shalom.
See you, Alan.
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. So Shabbos, Rabbi Levitt, thank you. All right. See
Yeah,
you.
we'll be here. As the Shembli Netter will be here tomorrow at 10:30.
Right. Okay.
More about Ribbis from the Gemora Bava Metzia.
Okay.
Bye, Phil. Bye, Alan.
Bye.